I'm sure government is focusing on the external headwinds, but in-house also some reforms seems to be, taking some shape here. So in terms of GST, everyone is now talking about the rate rationalization. In fact, Minister also said, Finance Minister, that this is the time to go for rate rationalization, and that could be perhaps one of the agenda in the upcoming GST Council meeting, as and when it happens. So one of the important aspects is to, eliminate the 12% GST rate to move towards three-tier structure from the current four-tier structure. What's your take on that? And you think this is the right time to rationalize the rates to kind of, push consumption, which is showing some sort of drag?
Yeah. So I would, say, at least my view is that GST has probably been one of the most successful reforms that the government has done. And also probably one of the most complex because, you have states, center, everyone involved. The legislation has been there for 8 years. There has been a lot of changes that have happened. Technology has played a very critical role in the success of GST. And I think it's really helped in the formalization of the Indian economy. But as the GST matures, as we have more and more technology, as we learn more and more with the experiences, I think it's the right time for next version or GST 2.0. From CII standpoint, we've recommended, 4 sort of broad items under which the government should be looking at reforms. One is, of course, as you said, rate rationalization. I think that's important broadly in the structures that you talked about. Also, movement of products from one category to the other, may not necessarily, some products in the luxury segment may not necessarily be luxury and would be there. And at least the CII's view is that in the medium term to long term, economic activity will pick up so that the revenue neutral rate will not vary that much. And secondly, for strengthening of the Indian economy, the bottom 30% has to be really strengthened. And for that, at least products and services that are going into that, the rate should be as minimal as possible. So 5% or whatever that rate is, so that the consumption basket grows, as you rightly said. There is some fatigue in some parts from a consumption standpoint. So at least this gives that, like the government did on the income tax for middle class and everything. This will give them a good boost. The second area, of course, where apart from rate rationalization, which we think is important, is GST was formed to say that the credit is smooth. You get credit for everything that you do, and it's really tax on value addition. And the least and as few breaks you can have, is better. So there are 2 areas where there are some parts of the taxes that were not subsumed in that. I think we have to see if some of them can be subsumed, not all of them, but some of them, particularly real estate. And the second is, the ITC, which is the input tax credit. I think that's really, in some industries, if you're doing capex and others, it's really ballooning up. And, it creates a lot of cash flow constraints, especially if you're doing large capex. So, and in some, because of inverted duty structures, others, ITC number is high. So I think those are some of the things that we have highlighted. Third is, very importantly, the entire audit process has become very cumbersome, especially if you're a company that's working and operating in 7 or 8 different states. Same, assessments being done, same positions being challenged, dual views taken, no standardized SOP for doing audits. Information that's available digitally is not procured digitally, but you have to send large physical copies. So things like that, which we've got from our members, and we have requested, and I think there's been very engaging conversation that's happened with Ministry of Finance. And likewise on the 4th was, some proceduralities and areas of proceduralities that we can look at. I would say that a lot of this also, as we look at it, has to happen at states. So as CII, we are trying a lot through our state regional councils to also have ongoing discussions with the state finance ministers, sensitizing them of some of these issues, so that hopefully when the meetings happen there is because the states have a equally important role to play in making some of these changes happen. So I think, yeah, so I agree. I mean, I completely agree with you that on rates and others, it'll be good time to simplify and also look at things which can create greater demand and therefore greater economic activity in the country. And hopefully that economic activity will more than make up for the loss in revenue because of lower rates.
And with GST being a very important, high frequency indicator for the entire economy. So on that front, I wanted to ask that we are doing well in terms of, revenues. So far, things are fine as far as high frequency indicators are concerned. Consumption is also picking up, not in a great pace.